It really seems like everything in Canada is more expensive since the COVID-19 pandemic. And just as important as understanding how that happened, we need to figure out how to fix it. Is it Justin Trudeau's fault? Well, a lot of people think that it is. But rather than just blindly listening to power-hungry Conservatives who hate the Prime Minister and want to blame him for everything, let's actually think about it. Let's see what's keeping you down. Let's talk about what the solutions are so you can feel like you and everyone in Canada is getting ahead. You probably feel like the economy is terrible right now, and it's not really going to be all that helpful for me to show you that Canada's economy is actually not bad. What you care about is how all the stuff that has happened over the past 4 years has impacted the cost of groceries, and the fact that you can't afford to buy a house or rent one for that matter. You care that your wage doesn't seem to be going up, but the cost of everything else is. So how do we fix this so that you can get ahead? And by you, I don't mean the gray-haired Trudeau haters who may be watching this sitting in their comfortable houses, growling about how much they hate our current Prime Minister. Those guys, and yes, me as well, are going to be just fine regardless of whether it's a Liberal or Conservative government in power. I think the Trudeau haters at the top of the financial food chain in Canada want Poilievre in power because they want their tax rates to come down, even though they don't really need any more money than they already have and can afford to pay at their current rate. We actually need them to pay what they're paying, and in my opinion, more, so that your rate can stay as low as it already is. They're looking forward to the cuts he'll make to social support programs they'll never use, don't value, and see as a waste of their tax dollars. But the very things that a Conservative government would cut are the things you should care about, things that are designed to help you get ahead. Let's look at some of them. Let's start with the carbon tax rebate that those living outside of BC and Quebec get. A Conservative government will eliminate that rebate when they axe the tax. That's hundreds of dollars a year out of your pocket. Conservatives tell you that the carbon tax is the cause of high prices in Canada, but this has been studied and it's just not true to the extent they want you to believe. Groceries, for instance. The carbon tax has contributed less than 1% to the rise in grocery prices. What's the actual rise in the cost of groceries? Well, in 2023 it was 11.4%. But you probably don't care about studies. You see that the price of things is high and you want to believe what the Conservatives are telling you, that the carbon tax is to blame. Okay, so what happens when you vote Conservative? They form government and the first thing they do is kill the carbon tax and the rebate that goes along with it. You suddenly stop getting that $1,000 a year that someone living in rural Alberta gets. Will your grocery bill magically come down? Not likely, since the carbon tax only contributed less than 1% to the cost in the first place. So food will basically be the same price, but you'll have less money to pay for it. Well, what about the price of gas at the pump? Yep, it's higher because of the carbon tax. Eliminate the carbon tax and gas prices will come down. Until next week, when some other completely unknown reason causes them to shoot back up again. Gas prices will stay high for a bit, then they'll come back down, then they'll go up again. This is what gas prices do. Here's a chart showing that. It is not a stable commodity. Whether there's a carbon tax or not, the price of gas will go up and down like a toilet seat. Conservatives want you to believe that getting rid of the carbon tax will make gas prices go low and stay low. Not going to happen. Pierre Poilievre has as much control over the cost of gas as Justin Trudeau does, and that is none. Well, how about housing? The cost of housing is insane. How did things get like this? All kinds of reasons, including investors buying up housing, renovating the units and jacking the rent up, housing speculators buying places to flip them, governments not building affordable housing, governments not providing incentive for others to build affordable housing, not anticipating the impacts of population growth, too much focus on low-density housing. So even though there will be people commenting on this video saying that it's all the fault of Justin Trudeau and immigration, don't be gullible. You can think for yourself and realize that there are a lot of causes. Some of it is government related, and not just the Liberal government. The problems with the supply of affordable housing started long before the Liberals were elected. A lot of it is greed related. And maybe you're not interested in studies, but just in case, Mount Royal University put out a discussion paper early in 2024 that has some detailed explanations of a lot of this. But you want to know what help there is for you to get into a place of your own. Well, the Liberal government has made that a bit easier through the new First Home Savings Account program that lets you deduct contributions off your income tax, bonus, and when you eventually use that money to buy a house, you can take it out and still not pay tax on it. Fantastic program if you can manage to put away a few dollars after you feed your family. That's one program Pierre Poilievre is pretty quiet about because it's really good. So maybe he won't cut it if he wins the next election. The Liberal government also started a different program called the First Home Buyers Incentive, where they would cough up to 10% of the cost of the house to help you with the down payment in return for an equity stake in your place. But you missed out on that one. They stopped taking applications for it at the end of March 2024. There's a bunch of other things in both the Liberal and Conservative housing plans that are designed to make getting a house a little easier, but it's a really slow-moving machine. There's a bunch of other things that have been started recently and over the past few years to help you with the rising cost of everything in Canada. You can't afford to go to the dentist? Well, the Liberals and NDP fixed that for you with the Canada Dental Care Plan. You need daycare for your kid? The Liberals fixed that. Imperfectly, yes, but there are $10 a day spaces out there. Need some help with breakfast for your kid? School food program has you covered. And it's really important to mention, the Conservatives didn't want you to have any of this. They voted against all of it in the House of Commons. Conservatives in Canada are always down on Canada, telling you how terrible everything is. God, I would love to hear Pierre Poilievre say something positive about Canada one time. Now, I know that a Conservative government would throw you a bone. We don't know what that might be because they won't tell anyone what they plan to do if they win the next election, but safe to say, they'll do something to put some cash in your pocket. They'll do this at the same time they're taking more money out of your other pocket. They'll cancel the carbon tax rebate. They'll likely eliminate cheap daycare. That dental care program, gone. You got student debt? Well, as of November 6, 2024, the federal government will use an expanded definition of underserved and rural communities, so more students qualify for Canada's student loan forgiveness. But that will likely be gone if you elect a Conservative government. And there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff that when you bundle everything together, you'll be worse off than you are now. But it'll seem like it's all better. You'll hear more slogans about how Conservatives have killed that horrible carbon tax and that they're cutting government waste. Yeah, waste for them, but it's the stuff that helps you stay afloat. So the bottom line for all of us, except those at the top of the financial food chain in Canada, is that voting in a Conservative government will be bad for you. There's a chance you don't believe me and that you won't ever realize it's true, but unless you're a gray-haired Trudeau hater sitting in a comfortable house watching this right now, it will be bad for you. And Pierre Poilievre will tell you who to blame when all the stuff I've mentioned in this video goes away. It'll probably be Justin Trudeau's fault.